help me to record basically your attendance on the system there, unless I'm going to create basically back again my own kind of Excel kind of system to record your attendance there. But one of the way that I will actually do every time when I actually doing this kind of stream kind of sessions, right? I will actually record your attendance from here. But that means that I can actually write print screen this, right? Going to rename basically my, I'm going to save the files, right? Let's just say this is week 1, sessions 2, right? Attendance. Like that. So later on, I'm going to key in back again your attendance using my Excel that I'm going to look. Right, I have to tell the truth, right? Okay, I'm actually really in the process of beginning to try to adapt, right, the new system that we have in our campus. Yeah. Because when I actually teach other college, okay, they have the different kind of systems, but for me, I can adapt it more easily, okay, because everything direct, right? Because that's why when we actually try to work with this Adobe, the Microsoft Teams there already. At the first stage, basically, when I actually record my sessions, I don't have any kind of issues when I want to share my screen there, okay? But the problem is after I have record all the sessions, I have the students done what we call that command there, okay? That complain that they cannot actually access back again those videos. So what basically I've done there, okay, normally, even though I record the sessions, I'm going to download them from Google Drive and upload into my YouTube channel. That's all. Right? And then you guys can access every time, all right, because I'm using public for my that kind of YouTube account there, right? So you guys can access back again, okay, my kind of, we call that demonstration from there. Okay, guys? So can you guys open up your webcam first so I can see your guys' face? I bet we won't be able to see each other's what you call that until our end of the semester. Is that right? Open up your webcam there, guys, so I can see your face here in the morning there. My left have web there. I just woke up there. Right? Yeah, I just also woke up there. Who is this? This is Jonathan there. Okay, hi Jonathan there. This where the Lim, you actually in our illustration class, right? Jonathan, you're not actually in my class last Tuesday, right? You're not the one there, right? Oh, you went,
No, I went.
oh,
I was
you
in
the
your
one
class.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. There's two, what we call that guys actually, right? Join in the class. You and
Oh, sorry, you mean the physical class, is
physics
it?
class.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
no, I
All
wasn't
right.
there.
I think Wayne Jun, right? Wayne Jun and
Wenjun and Alfie, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, who actually in my illustration classes? You,
Me,
you
yeah.
are right. Okay, all right. Okay. So can you actually access back again my videos that I record on the Wednesday? Can you access it?
Wednesday, I think, yeah, can. It's
You
on
sure?
Teams, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like the comments there. It's like
Yeah.
automatically there already.
Oh, because I hardly can find those videos. I don't know why they're right. Because on the
Mm.
comment they're right. But I have discussed with Miss Anis also the same kind of issues there because she also has having some of the troubles to share the screen or to record the screen this morning there. I don't know what is basically I can't actually understand basically the system itself. But for what actually experience for from the MCO kind of situations, I would I would say I'm quite basically satisfied if I'm using Google Meet directly. Even though I'm not using my playlist account there, I'm using other accounts there, right, other college account that related to works. But it's quite helpful for me to access with the students, right? Even though Google Meet, we can actually access more than 50 students, if I'm not mistaken, there, okay, for the sessions here. So because I'm doing also my lecturings, okay, for other subjects, okay, which basically can actually operate more than 100 students that at the same time, right? Okay? Even though I won't be able to see all of you guys there, but I can actually, right? They can actually access to me there, right? So those are the things I'm quite satisfied. Google, Microsoft Meet, basically I have used before, and I actually record some of the session before. But the problem that I find from previous kind of semester student, last semester, is basically they cannot access back again my videos. So the same thing, right? Okay? Whatever that I record, I have to download back again and upload in my YouTube there, right? Okay? Those are the things I find quite not quite satisfied with the technical stuff, right? Okay? But those are the things, of course, like I said before, we have to improvise there, right? And thanks to you guys because I don't have to go to the campus at the moment for our subjects here because we have 11 students in our room there, right? Okay, so two of you guys only actually in our classrooms, so that means if you guys cannot actually be in the campus, right? So we have to do our sessions as well right here. Right here. I think it's more better, even though you're going to hear some of the surrounding kind of sound effects later on there. Okay, not actually quite quiet as our classroom there. Right, those are the things. Those are things at the moment I can actually avoid there. Okay? So because my kind of workstation basically right inside the house instead. Right? So basically you can see actually my personal kind of life at the same time that what basically I've done with the families there. Yeah. Right guys. Okay. What do you think about when I actually demonstrate on the a little bit on the Adobe Animate or Flash there just now? Okay? Do you find quite easy for you to handle later on? What do you think about it? Compared to Adobe, what we call it, After Effects?
I think that was fine so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you actually have familiar also working with Adobe After Effects, because they're working with the layers there, right? And also you have to render the whole kind of what we call that videos later on before you get to see some of the works there. Especially when you work with the very heavy files there, right? Right. What I actually experience also from my works, normally I'm going to animate all my characters there. Every characters that I'm going to animate, normally I'm going to using Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash. Right. I'm only using After Effects normally for my kind of works. Okay. For my kind of works, to compose back again between the background that I'm going to use and also the characters that have been animated in Adobe Flash or Animate, compose everything together inside one single file before I'm going to render them back. Okay? Those are the things that I always do for my own works. Okay, so now for our module itself, okay, what are the things that you will be expected to do there? I'm going to, because last session that we have earlier, I did not basically give you guys, okay, some of the details, okay, from the student kind of experience there, okay, what basically the student have done, okay. Have you guys actually watched the 12 principles of videos that I actually shared with you guys earlier? Serene, okay, welcome. Huh? Serene, mine 02. Right, welcome to our class, right? Can I see your face there, Serene? if you have watched the videos there, okay, if for this week, our first kind of what we call the exercise, right, even though you can actually find a lot of this information in Google, I want you guys to summarize, all right? Summarize what were basically the 12 principles is all about, right? I just want you guys to summarize that, okay? Between squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead, pose to pose, all right, follow through, slow in, slow out, arc, secondary actions, timing, exaggerate, solid drawing, and also appealing there. Why? Because I believe as a teenagers like you guys, if you read a few kind of informations about what you're going to do later on there, right? You'll be more kind of understanding when you actually practice back again what you read. So this is only a very simple kind of exercise number one for this week, right? To give you guys basically some sort of revisions there, right? You guys can actually chin on me if you want to, right? Okay? But the thing is right now, whatever that you guys are going to write down or summarize them, right, okay, in one pages of words there, right, okay, and save it into PDF format, put also your names on it, right? If you want to add some sort of design layout basically for your presentations here, right, you can do it as well, right? Because these students basically they didn't actually just write down and summarize only there, right? Okay? If you just want to promote some of the design or cartoon characters that you want to, what we call it, share and also using as a part of your kind of what we call that accessories, okay, on those kind of presentation over here, go ahead there, okay? So for example, let's just say, right, let's just say I'm going to download this one like this. This is your presentations here. And let's just say this is your kind of, what we call that, words kind of, what we call that. This is basically your kind of what we call that summarize, okay, on words. And then later on, right, okay, when you want to present them, for example, here like this, copy the right. Yeah. Let's just say this is your kind of presentations there. And then you want to make a very simple kind of layout there, right? Okay? You want to basically want to promote the big again some of your design, your character design, whatever that you guys have been working on previously, you just want to post and also add in your layout already. So what I want you guys to work on it, try to experiment with it. Let's say you have a few kind of characters that you want to promote. Like mine, basically, I have one of the characters that I've created before, which is a pangolin character there. Right. Using right, create these characters. Okay. Right. So this composition is a bit there. This one I'm going to put right here. Still a bit there. This one there. Right. For example, there. Okay. I know this is not a proper any kind of composition here. For example, like this one there, right? For example, if you think, all right, you want to work right with this kind of what we call that presentations here, just want to share with me directly what basically you guys have been working on before. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, for example, like this one again, one single characters or two different characters there if you want to work there, right? It will be nice there. It will be nice to see basically you guys can be worked out on this kind of presentation, right? Okay, because this is animation classes. If you're doing some things that not basically have the feel of animations, okay, for your writings, for example, okay, it doesn't have to be too decorative, okay. If you just want to duplicate, make it more balanced there, I think it's more than enough. Okay, so it will be more enjoy for me to review and also read back again your summarizations on your works there. Not to over what we call that the whole kind of looks and feel, okay, for this kind of particular kind of what we call that exercise of submissions. We just want to give a little bit of the look and feels, okay, of those animations kind of subjects itself. Okay, you guys understand about it? Guys?
Yes.
Okay, simple, stay right. Just make it a 12 principal kind of summarizations. Okay. And add also some characters there. Okay. Just to promote basically your kind of way of developing your kind of animations characters, okay, for this exercise here. All right, also one thing that we can do. If you take a look back again, our module over here, this one. The class works there basically. Right. The second kind of exercise that they actually have done there already is designing the characters using Adobe Animate. Right? Using a basic shapes. Right? Using a basic shapes there. So this is some of the designs, this is some of the characters that the student have been actually explore, right, during the process of using Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash, using the tools, using the brush tool or shapes tools to design those characters. Okay. But the rule is, before you're going to design these characters here, you need to sketch it out first. Okay? I want you guys to sketch out your character's design before you're going to design back again using those tablets or using Adobe Animate. Okay? Sketch out your ideas here first. Using your sketchbooks or A4 papers, right again, before you're going to draw back again or trace back again. This is basically from one of the students from mass communications, I want to take that. But the issues that we have with the students suddenly he cannot cope with the exercise and also the assignment that we have done. He did a lot of delay, and I actually have given a few kind of what we call that command to improve his works there, right? And of course, okay, what you have to bear in your mind, okay, I will always give a little bit kind of feedback on the works if I saw you guys can improve more on your works. I'm not actually just giving you guys some suggestions just because I just want to burden you guys with a lot of works there. It's not that kind of my issues there, right? But I really want you guys to improve it because I know you guys can improve from there. When I saw some of the efforts that the students have done there, I always want to push more, okay, from the students' kind of work. I will hope that the students can improve it more and more from there. Otherwise, there's no point there, right? So for some of you guys who actually take a minor kind of subjects in animations, you have to get ready for it. Okay? Otherwise, even though it's a minor project, right? Just to give you guys a bit more kind of extended grade, or you want to upskilling basically your knowledge, okay, on animations when you want to present, or maybe you want to develop. Even though you're going to manage your own kind of events that related to animation later on, right? You don't have to actually work on it, but you can manage other people there. At least you can get some ideas and knowledge how to improve some other people's works there, right? In order to make the whole presentation look more better in a more realistic kind of way, right? Because all the suggestions that I give you guys is basically on the realistic kind of understanding there. I'm not actually doing the things because I like, but basically because you need to do it. Okay, because you need to improve from that. You have to understand that. Okay, if I want to ask you, okay, to do something that I like, for examples, that, right? Don't take it wrong. I will ask you guys to draw or to animate something more like this there, right? Okay, I've shown you guys just now already. Before this, basically this animation, right? Perfectly will be done like that, right? Okay? This kind of animated kind of style. Okay. This is something that I like, but I just show you guys as a part of suggestions where basically you can actually push yourself to develop your skills. How far you can go, right? Okay? From what you've learned there. It's all depend on individual skills there. But my kind of standard of animations sorry, for you listeners, we're not talking about Naruto, we're not talking about Thundercats or Transformers directly. We're not talking about any kind of very, very high quality of anime styles directly. But if you can do it, go ahead. I'm not actually going to hold you from there. But if you can actually adapt your kind of animation works and apply all those 12 principles kind of rules in one single kind of animations within 20 seconds, for example, like this one, okay, they will be more better, okay? It will be excellently great, okay? Because why? Because from these animation styles, you guys can actually list down back again how many principles that they actually apply from this work. Most of those 12 principles are in this kind of animation. Okay, that's why the final kind of animations, okay, from these ladies there, Wendy, right? Okay, your senior, if I'm not mistaken, already. She also really, really quite disciplined with her works there. I really salute with his kind of commitment there. Right? She's her commitment there, because I did also push a little bit further for his styles there, her styles there, because I saw that first of all, when she designed these characters there, right, I find quite skeptical with the motion that she will done there, right? She will create with these characters there. This is the first attempt of her design there, right? When she designed this character using those basic shapes there. But before that, you can see she had done a few number of characters there. Suddenly she decided to use this one, but I'm still quite skeptical and also worried that whether she can actually handling or not, because I find out the character is quite boring there for me there, okay? But when it comes to presenting back again her works, this is what she has done. But I know that she has a very good potential on her works. This is what we call the animatics there. This is the animatics. Animatic is one of the process that we need to do after we design or we actually have create our flow for our storyboard there, right? This is a rough kind of animatics there, rough animations. Right. This background design, basically we're using Photoshops. Okay, I'm going to combine between Photoshops kind of creation of background and combine together with Adobe Flash there, right? Even though we can actually design using Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash to the background directly, but I'm going to give you guys different kind of exposure. Okay, this is her final kind of work there. Okay. 15 seconds of animation there. We explain all those 12 principles there, right? From the stress and squash, exaggerations, right? The appealing of designing of those characters itself, right? The slow in and slow out, the timings there, everything is there, right? So I basically work with the students along the way, giving a lot of demonstrations from there, but to give you guys a good kind of understanding how actually going to apply them back, right? But the first thing, you need to understand what type of characters from the basic shapes that you can actually develop to make it on your own style there. From now on, you guys have experienced designing the characters before, right? Even though you want to design a human character's base, we have to start with the basic structure. Okay, those are the, this is one of the works that I was quite surprised when we did it. I know that she has a potential there. When it comes to present her works for the first time, working with the first assignments, if I'm not mistaken. The first assignments are going to be the bouncing balls there, okay? But this is basically our exercise there. We are going to create our characters 3D turn around, just like that in my demonstrations, okay, that I shared with you guys yesterday there, right? Okay, we create a model sheet for our characters there, model turn around there, 4 or 5 different positions, all right? Okay, we're going to create this one. That's why if you learn to develop your kind of understanding from the basic structures when you design the characters, right? So when you work with any kind of design later on, you have the understanding on the concern. Okay, whenever that you want to design any new characters, you will look into all these 4 or 5 different positions, 360 kind of positions of your own design before you're going to decide that you're going to use that kind of works for your animations later on. Because as a designers, as an animators, when we learn all this kind of what we call that process of working there, normally when you design your characters for, let's just say, motion comics or any kind of design for icon there, right? Or stickers design or one single illustration design there, right? Sometimes we don't aware all these kind of situations there. We thought, okay, draw one characters in one positions there. It's more than enough. Look fine, looks good. But the point is right now when people ask you, okay, how about other positions there? How about other posts there, right? Can you actually draw and put and synchronize those design back again? Okay, those are the things that will happen, the challenge that happen later on. Okay? You won't be able to get it right. You can see there's a lot of not quite right with the proportions there when it comes to that kind of design. And you will start arguing and also felt that, oh, I have to change because you cannot solve that problem there, right? Because you don't actually really understand your own kind of structures that you design for your characters there, the basic form itself, right? Okay, so this is something that actually we have done for the week 3, okay, for those exercises. I bet some of the what student also were like Zane also quite good at in terms of presentation of those characters. We're going to work also walk cycles, right? Animations there, right? The walk cycles kind of animations. Right? This is from one of the girls also, Alita there, right? To be doing a jig animation because it's not that quite big already. Run cycles, right? Walk cycles. Okay. Using very simple kind of shapes of characters. This is also from one of the, I think, one of the committed students also, other than Alita, Wen Yi, right? Rongsheng, the writing, and also quite passionate for one class because why? Because when I actually asked him basically, okay, try to change a bit there, okay, try to improve a bit more on the motions there, add a little bit more kind of motions from here, okay. He actually quite responsive with me there, okay. So for me, if the student puts some interest, put a lot of interest on their works, I don't have any hesitations to, I don't have any problems to what we call that, give more marks on that. Simple as that. Right? Okay, this is from Rahaf right here. Rahaf is one of the Syrian kind of girl right here. But the problem is she doesn't actually, I don't know, maybe she has a problem with the connections, okay, from the internet line right here, from her, what we call the states there. But she's not actually quite responsive, but she actually know how to do the works. Okay? I'm quite surprised, but she also doesn't have the abilities to buy the tablets. Okay? So she's using most of her works using those basic shapes, alrighty, using the mouse that you work with. But even though the characters a bit look like a monster in there, I did told her actually I get to change a bit, right? Okay? To work on that because she wants to draw a moon-based kind of subject matters characters there. But she can do it the works there. I don't have any problem with it. Okay? But the only thing is because we cannot actually connect with each other, okay, quite very what we call that close for those online sessions there. But I hope basically she has revised and reviewed most of my demonstrations in order for her to develop basically her own exercise. Okay? That's why she actually can manage to work on that. Okay? Rahab also is quite good at in terms of animation. I'm really quite surprised there. Those are the things that you guys are going to experience with us today, those animations works, right? And of course, as I told you guys, okay, maybe before, animation is all about fun kind of things there. Okay, this is one of the first exercise, first assignments that they work, right? They are going to work with the bouncing ball exercise assignments there. So, this is one of the work from Ganga there, right? Okay, bouncing ball exercise there. But to test to create the animated kind of motions for one single object, right? Yeah, just to test those animations. So to design characters, normally it's not that quite. You didn't have to draw all those fancy kind of stuff. This is one of the sketches there. That he want to try to draw the environment styles there on her for his what we call that background there, okay, but it's not doesn't actually look fine actually, because maybe he did not actually manage to sketch out. Maybe he actually have a little bit kind what we call that misunderstanding how to operate with the tools itself. Right? It's quite look like off kind of what we call that proportions there. They're like a drawing style for the sketch there. Okay? This is from Rahat kind of design. Okay. But I did told her that, okay, don't just trick from other people's works there, right? Okay? Sketch it out first, your ideas, before you're going to use them for your works there. Yeah, hopefully she's not doing that, okay? But I give her a good marks on her, okay? But just some of the things that I really need from her, okay, in order to improve more on the motions, I cannot get it there, right? Okay? But so far, she actually can do it. She has the basics understanding. She has the good understanding on emotions. So I'm not actually quite picky or strict there. If I saw the student can manage, understand what we actually have been go through with the lesson itself. Okay? But normally if I actually ask you guys to improve it more and more, that means I will put more attention on the developments for your skills, not for me. I'm not doing for me there. Because I know that you have the potentials, you have basically your interest like Alita there, right? And she also have been contact me personally to ask me all the advice. For me, if you're good at what you do, I don't have any kind of what you call that stupid comment that I want to raise them. I just want to tell, okay, can you actually do a little bit more like this, a bit more like that? They should do more better like that. That's all. So you have to take this kind of challenge. But if you have a lot of what we call that problem with the skill itself, of course, I will ask you guys to amend a bit more. But you need to ask me also the question, or you can actually came to me personally, okay, and we can do also these kind of sessions, and I'm going to demonstrate back again what are the things that you need to do from there, okay, just to improve a bit more, right? So this is some other exercise also that students have done already for the works, even if the background is there. Okay, guys? All right, so let's begin with our tools. I believe you guys also can't wait basically to work on that. All right, guys, when you open up your Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash, if you want to use Adobe Flash, if you have Adobe Flash or Adobe Flash MX or Adobe 8, it will find it, because the tools that we are going to use from both kind of Adobe Animate or Flash or Multimedia Flash directly, they will be the same there. Right, before Adobe basically buy basically Multimedia Flash okay, to create this Animate there, right? What I actually experienced other than Toon Booms, Animatic Pro kind of software, but I didn't use yet any kind of application that we have on the phone there to create those animations. But I believe Procreate also have the certain kind of what we call that features that they can animate the characters there. Okay? They can animate also the motions there. Okay? But I didn't test yet. Okay? But if you can actually use any kind of applications that you felt comfortable with, go with it, right? Because the methods and techniques is the same, going to be the same. Okay, when I actually working with my works, okay, as I actually explained also in Illustrator's kind of subject, okay, but we don't have any cameras that can actually operate like this one, right? I'm going to use basically my kind of left hand basically to operate my shortcut keyboard, okay? Control Z or the Command Z for Mac directly. Control C for copy, V for paste. Some other shortcut key like N for drawing or pencil tools there. L for line tool, for example, there. Y for selections tool or for lasso tool there, for example, there, okay? Those are the things are the normal kind of routine kind of navigations that we are going to use when we work with the software itself. Okay, so when you open up your files there, as usual there, you have to open up your document size there, right? Okay? And for some cases, okay, for Adobe Animate normally, you can actually modify your document right here. You see that? So the standard kind of size that we are going to use, okay, for our presentation in these animations, all right, module or subjects are going to be around 190 for width and 1080 for the height there. It is around half HD kind of what we call it, 16 by 9 kind of format, okay. So the frame rates are going to be 25 frames. And the rules of unit of pixels are going to pixels. I mean, I'm not going to use inches or centimeters, right? If you seems to have this kind of format with you that you have actually set up on your what we call the Adobe Animate there, make as default and click OK. Then you have this kind of canvas there, right? So now, so B basically for brush tools. Where is it? You can click to the paint buckets here to change the colors. Line tools basically to draw the line, right? To draw the line but not using brush there. Okay, if you click to the brush tools, of course they're going to use brush there to work there. You have to click to the buttons over here. You guys can see there, right? Pencil tools there to draw the line for the pencils there, right? Okay? It's a very clean kind of line there, right? Okay? Some productions they're still using line tools there. They always use line tool to draw the characters work there. Those are the things. But my kind of designs, normally I'm using brush tools. Why? Because okay, when I zoom in directly, control, what do you call that? Space bar to zoom in there. And I press the line over here. Alright. I can design, right? I can use K for paint bucket directly. And then I'm going to, before I'm going to group them up, I can put some highlights basically right here. Because the best thing about using the tablets there, with this one basically I can change the colors inside there, right? Using the fill colors, paint bucket there, to color them up, and see, I'm separate them right, between the pupil and also the iris together there. So why actually we have to separate the whole thing there? Because it's easy for me to move around, right? The object itself there. But I didn't actually rename them yet, okay? Normally right here, okay, I didn't rename them, right? But later on, when we actually have designed the same character, see how actually do it that? Alternate copy there. Just like using Adobe Illustrator, right? Okay? But the thing is to create one simple design like this, even though if I want to use it, this one, right? And then I'm going to scale. How I'm going to scale, okay? Without Animate actually basically it's more easier, right? I found that it's a lot easier and a lot of features a little bit kind of advanced. Click Shift and oops, sorry, click Shift and scale. Okay. I'm going to put right here. Of course, right now the object basically is on top of other object there, right? I want to create a body for this character. What I can do, I can send to back by go to modify, arrange, send to back. Shortcut key for it is Control. Can you see here, there, right? This arrow key there, right? I will send to back. Control and send to back. Okay, Control and send to back. I can actually write double clicks right to the groups objects there, because basically just now I have grouped the object. If you don't actually group the objects there, for example, like I pick apart the right again, right? And let's just say if I'm not grouped the object there, okay, sorry, what happens here? I cannot actually change, right? I cannot arrange it. Okay, see? There will be a lot of problems there, okay, when it comes to arrange your kind of design there, okay, that you actually been created. That's why I really recommend you guys that when you actually design one of the objects parts for your characters, Control, right, send to back, right, or Control Shift send to back, or Control Shift arrow key up, arrow key down, okay, just to send to back, right? That, okay. So it's more easy for you to arrange them. What's next that I can do, okay? Normally, I'm not going to use black color for my outline there, right? I'm using a little bit more like a brownish there, okay? For my outline there. Why? Because I'm not saying that black is boring, but I'm going to use a little bit more like, I want to give a little bit more like different kind of feel, okay, for my design. Okay, look at this, okay. Even though I'm going to brush using those brush tools to draw them, right? If I make a bit kind of mistake right here, in AI you have to use pen tool or some of the pencil tool to change the right. So for Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash, if you use move tools here, selection tools, click over here and then you can change. Click to the point at the outside a bit, okay, this border there, right? You can change there. You can actually change there. This is how actually you can refine the tools, the what we call that the mistake that you have done just now. But sometimes what I actually create for my design, okay, I would love to make my design a bit more rough there, right? Okay, because of creating those design there. So some of the imperfections kind of strokes and line here, sometimes I just leave it there. So if I actually have decide, right, to design the other parts there, right, I can send to back right here like this. Sorry, I double click it now. Then I can actually draw those notes there, right? What are the things there? Right? Draw the mouth there. If you get used with the brush tools, basically you don't need those pencils or sketchbooks to sketch out the right, your works anymore. Okay, select all, Control, select all, groups, and then put right here. Right? Now the colors are here, right? But if I want to add some colors, just double click, and I can paint. Right, this one just now I accidentally actually move around the shapes there, right? What I can do, Control Z back again. Just paint it back. Okay. The shadows, I want to create some shadows there. Double clicks. I actually I want to call that lock the shadows areas there. For example, right here. Then I can actually use color mixes, adjust the shadows there. The highlight itself, using brush tool, I can draw the highlight. Oops, because we're covered with the eyes there, right? So what I can do, the color selection, maybe here. Hopefully there's a clear there. So from here, if I copy them back, I can actually write, starting with my design kind of process, which is from one designing characters there, I can actually work with different kind of styles, or I can actually arrange different kind of look and feel for my design there. Okay? This is one of the process of design that basically I actually have done, okay, when I actually have confirmed with some of the ideas that I have. So that means the process of design are going to be worked, right, continuously before we are going to decide that okay, this is the type of the character that we're going to use later on. Okay. One single design, you can actually come up with different kind of ideas. So this is the design process. Guys, this is basically the design process that we can do. Yeah. Okay. You see that, guys? How many seconds will involve when it comes, if you get used to the tools there, right? Okay, you can actually develop those kind of characters, right, in a quite fast kind of pace there on the words there. But of course, all the ideas that we have need to refine before we're going to decide to work with it. For examples, we can change the size of the brushes. Going to draw, right, for example, the eyebrows, group them up, right? You can reuse that one if you want to, or I can actually use, all right, the same colors of those. And make sure you draw outside of it, the groups, and then you can actually color them back. You copy them and click horizontal. How to work with it, right? Simple. Copy, modify, transform, click horizontal to change the position. That's why some of the positions we don't have to redraw, but we just have to flip them out. For example, like this one there, right? We can flip them out there. Okay. Those are things. That makes our jobs more easier. So save them. Don't forget to save your files into FLA files. But later on, when you want to export, if using Adobe Animate, you can use export images. Save into JPEG files. All right. Okay. Rename the file week 1, session 2. For examples there, your name. All right. And then exercise number 1. For example, right? Rename your file there. Please rename your file with your name there, so I can know your name there at the same time there. All right. This is how actually we can use those what we call that brush tool to draw those or to design your characters. But if you're going to use, if it seems you're going to use shape tools there to design, because you're using mouse there to work there, I would suggest for you to sketch out your ideas. If you can sketch out using if you don't have those tablets already. I don't know actually, right? Faris, basically, you sketch out your ideas like this one, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
You must be good handling your mouse there.
Yeah.
Huh? Right. So whatever that you're going to do, okay, I'm using the tablet is okay with you guys, huh? Because I want to. I'm not going to promote, but I have get used to it, okay, with the tablet, okay, because for me, if I'm not bringing my tablets to my work, okay, it will be a bit more awkward for me to work there nowadays. It's just like if I actually bring my laptop but don't bring those tablets there at the same time. I'm just using my tablet, my laptop, basically just to browse some of the equations to do some paperwork only there. I really hate and not going to use any kind of device other than tablet when I want to design my work. I won't be able to. Those are the things, maybe my weakness there, right? But it will make our works more faster. Okay? So if you have the privilege, because I think you on have the very reliable kind of price there. I think below 100 you can get a very good tablet for you to invest, to use for your work. Put on there, I think. You can check on the Shopee there. And also, Mr. Kanan also can get a very good price for Hui On kind of what we call that tablet if you plan to buy them. Like, you can contact Mr. Kanan. You know Mr. Kanan there, right? Okay?
Yes.
Right. So you can contact him directly. If you have the contact number of him, you can contact him directly. Because he already told me if the student want to invest to buy Hui On because he can get a very good price. Hopefully below 100 because I can check on the Shopee also. It's around below 100, right? Around 70 plus, 80 plus, you can get the tablets and the pen and tablets that works on those to get those tablets, okay, to operate those works with a lot. Okay, now, so find a question there, guys, okay, because I really go through, I'm going to go through with the tools that you need to use to work with your assignments or your exercise later on, okay? So for this week, other than do summarizations, that's why we have those what we call the character design that you can be worked, right? I would suggest before basically you are going to use what we call that the shape tools to design your characters. Right, I want to suggest for this here, if you want to add new layers, this is the first layers of first designing characters there, right? If you add new layers over here, because Adobe Animate, they have a different kind of arrangement there, but the same kind of tools there. So I would suggest you sketch out your ideas there. I'm going to sketch it out, right? Let's just say I'm going to sketch my characters over here. Right? When you design and sketch your characters normally there, okay? Always start with the basic structures like this. Okay? Always start with this kind of basic structures there. What else there? Okay. Sketch your characters like this. Right? If you seems, because why actually I want you guys to sketch your ideas there. Because that's how we plan what we're going to do first before we are going to jump out and straight using the tools to think at the same time want to create your design there. Because you're going to waste a lot of times to operate this kind of tools, and at the same time you need to think creatively what kind of design is suitable for you there. If I want to sketch a bit more using basic shapes, right? Okay, can you see that idea how it's going to design this characters here? Using the basic shapes only there. But the design itself will look more appealing there, okay? Because why? Because we want to target those designs will be more like to present basically the ideas of the aesthetical value of the whole principle that we are going to portray later on. So I'm going to group them up like this there, right? Okay? Because I'm sketching in Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash, right? So if you have sketched all these structures before you're going to design them, right? If you take a look how actually I operate all these design, every single characters have their own kind of pose. So if you can apply the same thing when it comes to design your characters here, right, it will be more better there, right? Okay? Because they will give a kind of personalities of your design there, right? Okay, personalities of your design, because it doesn't look stiff there, doesn't look hard there, right? Okay, like a puppet only, okay? They will show a bit more kind of personalities and the soul basically for that design there, right? Okay? When it comes to when you develop them back later on, right? When you use the tools to create them. See? Can you see that? When I sketch them, right? Even though the proportion is not right, but we can actually adjust a little bit there. But it looks fine at this stage there. Right, this is the head there. So always, what we call that, select all, control, select, and groups. Okay. Always have this kind of discipline when you want to develop your ideas. Don't just follow some doctor. When I actually show you guys how to draw these characters, I did not actually sketch it out right. Whatever that I have in mind, I just flow it through there. But for me, there's a times you guys can get very good ideas from there, but normally it won't there. Frankly speaking, okay, truthfully speaking, okay, I don't like this design. I really doesn't like this design. Maybe I create for you guys it's not okay because I felt there is not quite strong kind of feelings that I have with this kind of design there. It doesn't look a little bit more like a strong, appealing kind of character. The only thing that look presentable because of the line and strokes only. See, I can actually comment my own works. I can also condemn my own works. I'm okay with it. But that's the way that we actually work. If you don't understand what you do there, right, okay, and you felt that everything that you do is right, that's the time basically you will make a lot of mistakes that you never know. Okay? Learn also at the same time to condemn that again your works. Why? Because that's how actually they can get more creative. You can develop it more on your ideas from there. Okay? The process of developing those ideas there. Okay. Am I actually going too fast for you guys? I can actually design all these kind of ideas, okay, along the way there. Okay? If I want to, there, okay? 2 hours is not enough. But this is something that we can actually show you guys, okay? All right. Okay. So now, don't just stop 3 there, okay? I want you guys to design or sketch basically your ideas. At least you have, I'm going to give you guys a chance right today. I want you to design at least 5 different characters based on the basic shapes. But obviously I'm using a basic shape for this one, right? To be fair with you guys, double click why basically this one is to look like a transparent because I'm going into the when I click to this group, like this is a group window there, okay, for each object, right? So let's just say you want to draw some sort of like what chibi characters. Okay, I have to be fair lah, because maybe there is an anime fan over here. Right? Anyone doesn't like anime? You guys are quiet there. Hopefully you guys focus there. Hi guys, focus there. Right, sketch out, right? So when I actually sketch using this tablet directly and also these tools, I'm using the same methods, all right? If I'm using what we call that pencil or Photoshop to draw. A bit like a chibi character, okay, but not purely like an anime manga style. Okay? Yeah. This guy wearing boots or sneakers there. Okay? Sketch the chibi character. Okay? This is what a strong kind of what we call that knowledge that we have. You can have if you always start with the basic structures when you design the characters. Have you got this kind of experience before? Or you have get a very intensive kind of exercise to design characters based on the basic structures before you're going to finalize them? Have you guys experienced before?
I don't think I've experienced it before.
Okay, let me do. Okay, so okay, so this is one of the first kind of what we call that. What we call the experience that I will expose to you guys. Even though if you want to design basically a robot, right? I'm not actually trying to show off with you guys, but for me, if you say that you don't actually have this experience, maybe after this exercise next week, we are going to go through a bit more detail on developing the characters based on the gestures, strokes, and also the line of actions there. In animations, the line of actions is really important there, okay? In order for us to develop our understanding to develop the pose for your design. Let us say this is a robot character there. I'm using, this is only a rough sketch here. More like an Iron Man kind of looks there, right? So if you take a look at these basic structures there, right, you can see where basically I can go from this design, okay, from this design. I'm not saying basic structures is going to be a very, are you guys still with me?
Yes.
Muhammad, jangan kacau boleh tak? Are you guys still with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just now that's the leader actually called that. off because of the wires there, right there. So now, we check there, right? How we can sketch out those kind of characters. So from here, right, because okay, if you use different layers okay to design those kind of what we call the characters, or you place your design, right, okay, in Adobe Animate or Flash there, what I can do, you can lock the first layers there, or the second layer that you have sketched, okay. When you want to draw the new design, you can use another layers there on top of it just to trace them back and improvise from here. So what I can do, there's a few kind of tools that you can use based on the shapes there. One of the tools that I can use if I want to draw the circle kind of shapes, of course, I'm going to go back into these oval tools, all right, and then I'm going to use a different kind of colors here, and I sorry there, and I can even use change the strokes, right? In properties, you can find properties over here, right? In Windows or control properties there, right? If you cannot find from the Adobe Animate there, right? So properties over here, right? Control F3, Control plus F3 for the shortcut key there, right? Okay? You can check basically your Windows there. For the Adobe Animate, maybe they change a little bit there. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, they change a bit there. So if I use 6 points of sizes for the strokes, see the difference there. One of the good things that we can use, okay, to draw, right, this kind of particular shape in solid kind of line. Your characters will look more appealing there, more solid, more strong there. Remember about Powerpuff there, right? They use a very strong, bold graphics kind of looks and feels. Right? So the design will be more appealing, more strong, more recognizable. Like anime style, sometimes okay, they use a very clean kind of line because they love basically to see, they have the certain kind of discipline that, for me, not all Malaysians like us, right, they can follow because they really have the very highly kind of discipline. I don't know about new generation like you guys. Maybe you guys will be more disciplined than us. Like I'm actually an X generation, maybe there. X, yeah, maybe right. So for you guys, basically, right, you have, maybe you guys have this kind of discipline that you can actually follow Japanese kind of styles of using the works. Okay, when I want to design these characters here, what I can do most normally, right? When I actually sketch it out, and then I will improve back again in my design kind of purpose. I will always will improvise the shapes. This is one of the shapes here that I use for to draw the nose, right? Using the strokes, line tools. From here, either we can use circle like this one, right? Okay, this one have a gray color there, right? Because I'm not actually close basically the fill colors into blank colors over there. Those there, right? Okay. So if you don't want to add some colors, and you can actually click to the shapes, and then you can rotate them outside and move around here and scale a little bit there, and move right here, right? So from here, if you want to group them up first, select them and group them up, double click, then you can actually readjust them, okay, the shapes itself. Okay, see how it works just now? Right, if I want to cut this area, because we actually doesn't group the whole thing there, what we can do, right, make sure the objects over here are going to be cover the whole areas of those line there, right? But then every single line that you actually have been combined, they can actually be deleted. The other thing around that you can do, okay, click to this one already using the selections tools. Okay, then what you can do right now, you can actually click the whole thing using shift, groups, or this one you have been grouped already. You want to close this one because otherwise you won't be able to color them back. What you can do, either you can use the same outline here to cover these areas like that, and then use move tool or selection tools, right, to improve them, right? Or you can use also, if you don't want to use an outline there, okay, like you say you want to blend the shapes there, right, you can use this same strokes first, and then when you add those colors there, alright, click to the button of the colors over here. Why you cannot combine? Because some of the areas doesn't cover the right. There. Okay. And cover them back. Right? Make sure the whole line is covered there. Right? So what I can do from here, this is the nose shapes, right? The eyes itself. If you don't want to use outline, for example, see there, right? Color that first. Delete this one. And then you can use different kind of shapes. Right? Different kind of shapes to create some highlight. White color there, right? And the other thing, it can actually, I can bend a bit there. Group first and put it right here. See the highlights, right? So this one, either you cannot use, you don't have to use them back, and then put right here, and scale it down a bit because you want to show a bit kind of perspective there, okay? Because this is a 3/4 kind of position for this design. It's not front view, a 3/4 design there, okay? Okay, this part, you can add some colors. This part, double click, you add some colors over there. Right? And right now, this position of the eyes, it doesn't look right. What you can do, select both of them, control, center back. The nose, also can center back. See that? How it works? Right? If you want to use basically a mouse to draw those eyebrow, there, control, move, group there, right? See? There, group there, right? Right? Group there. So the mouth itself also the same thing. Right? Either you can use also, like you say you want to have strokes there, but you want to create a bit more like there is a kind of a quality of line there, I think, to your design. So what you can do, it offers the size of the strokes here. Then what I can do, I'm going to follow the way that I'm going to trace this one there, right? There. Right. Now, sorry, there is shortcut here, I forget what hand there, right? Cut this areas, okay, just like using AI there, right? Right, this one, you can cut over here to get more sharper kind of line there. So what I can do right now, I can actually fade it up, double click, and delete it. See, you can get the strokes there. But this is one of the oldest kind of techniques that I actually used for previously back in the days when I want to get this kind of strokes for my design. Okay. But right now, when I actually have using those tablets, I just can direct draw them back right here. according to what I want, because I want to make more quick kind of results there on my works there. Just have to get this up. But this one, if you use mouse, okay, so you have to go through this kind of process. Right? So I'm afraid that Faris, I know maybe you have that kind of patience there, right, there to design those characters there later on there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you got those right. Okay? By looking at, by listening to your voice, also I know that you actually have those kind of patience there. Good there,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
But me, me basically personally, I'm not that kind of patient kind of guy. Especially when I know that I can do more better or more faster kind of works, right?
Yeah.
Because others are there. But for you guys, it's okay to learn a little bit slower, a bit, but don't take too slow. For me, okay, what actually I've learned, you know who actually teach me Adobe Flash? There? I'm not actually learning Adobe Flash or Adobe Animate formally like you guys there. But in 1999, 2000, there, I have one of my friends. Okay, one of my friends. He's my colleague there, okay, because when I actually have been, what we call that, been promoted to join one of the institute at the time that I did to teach, shape myself into more steady kind of. You can use also brush tool, pencil tools, right? To draw some of the parts that you can make it more faster, right? You can explore that. Right? So that's why today basically I'm giving you guys also this one, right? Why you can actually color them up, because you have to break apart, Control B to break apart, and then you can color them up. And of course, before you color, check back again your color fields, whether you click to the strokes or you click to the paint bucket, right? Fill colors there. If you want to change the colors to white for the fit there, right? You change to the fill colors there. Always take a look at the toolbar that you actually been selected. Okay, when I actually write, being introduced with Adobe Animate or Flash there, right? At that time, Adobe Flash there. The Flash, like this one. But the old versions, right? I have one of my friends basically who really love to explore, and by exploring the Bibles of those books, okay, for this application software, right? Me myself is not. I love to read the design kind of theories there, but I don't actually love to read the tutorials there, okay, because I think I don't have time for that. Like I really doesn't have time to burn myself on that. So I'm going to look at this, right? So can you see the difference between using the pencil tools, line tools to work with your design, and also your brush tool itself here too, right? So what basically my friend did, he will teach me all this kind of standard kind of tool which I can use to animate that. So at that time, don't have those tablets there. So I'm working with mouse there all the time there when I design the characters there, and using the basic shapes only there. But any kind of characters that we're working on, okay, using the basic shapes, I will towards to the animations kind of progress of working. So I would spend myself to practice the same kind of routine or process of working until I can do the same animations for several times. And from there, I will know whether my kind of techniques that I'm been working is right or not, and I can memorize the whole process. Okay, from here, this is basically based from box, right? So what I can do, first of all, the line basically we change this now into strokes, right? The strokes are going to be a bit more thin there. So what I can do, I just click to this, okay, for these versions, they have the properties of it below there. I can change into 6-point vector. Okay. So now I can change. See, from shapes into the sorry. Okay, over here, click over here, double click. Okay, you can group that first, and then you can click Q for these versions. Check again for transform, right? Transform tools, free transform tools, and then I can actually move around here. But make sure you click to the middle point directly to this side, that to the top, that you can actually skew them back. This kind of object there. You see? And send it to back. So right now you cannot see the difference because you don't actually color these areas first. So to color this areas, I can choose the colors over here, not the strokes, but paint bucket there, right? And colors. See? This one, I can color them back. Right? Remember also about the color generators that you guys have learned before. If you want to create a very good color scheme for your design, make sure you use color generators to add those kind of warm and cool color fields there. Okay? Those are the things there. The first thing you have to remember, okay? Because my kind of works nowadays, normally I'm going to use my own kind of senses of design, kind of understanding there, to choose my own color scheme there, right? But it will take a lot of experimental kind of stuff that works on that. So right now here, you will start to work with, let's just say you want to design their hands a bit more like the same as you sketch, you have to use pen tools. If I don't want to use pen tools, what you call that, the line kind of tools there, I will use what you call that. Make sure you do some selections like this, right? Use the colors here, then group them up, right? This part also the same. Yeah. Group them up. This part basically the hand itself, right? Either you can use also close this one first, the paint bucket, right? The fill colors, the hands. You need to understand also how to operate the shapes of the structures of every part of your characters before you're going to design them. That's why drawing skills or drawing kind of proportion understandings really important when you want to design the characters there. From here, you can do a lot of things. You can actually improvise a lot of things there. Right? For me right now, as a human being, sometimes I'm also have the laziness there, okay? So I will find the best way for me to cut the short of those words there. Yeah, this is some of the things that we can do. But obviously sometimes, right, okay, depending on the situation, on the styles of the work that you want to do. Then send it back. It's a little bit more awkward like this one there, right? What I can do, if I want to break them up like this, see? Sorry there, right? I have to select both of them, break them up there first, group them back, click double click, then you select these areas, delete, there. You can see, you can have a bit more like, more kind of logic kind of shapes of the hands, the portions of the hand. Okay? You can adjust a lot from that. You just have to play around with it. That's why I told you guys, okay, when I actually find these kind of styles of working there, I will spend my entire day is to practice them back. That's what I say. For me, 5 characters at the moment is enough. But when I actually use my own passions there, not only patience, passions that works, I will practice more from here. Right? I would more practice that. Draw the what we call that the fit there, right? Using the shapes. Yeah. Okay. Groups. This one. Horizontals there. Keep horizontals, groups. But this part I'm going to make a bit more shorter because the position of the legs is a bit more different there. Okay, towards the 3/4 view, this is more like the side profile. Okay. Okay, what else is here? Okay, the jumbo there, right? The what we call that the head or the hairline there. Okay. All right, yeah, you can actually use pencil tools, for example, to draw those like this. For example, there. Groups, okay. If you want to blend with the shapes over here, what you can do, select them. All right, what you can do right here, double click. Don't get confused, guys. Double click, right, select, right. You just have to get used to it that first. Right, because I know that some of the students actually get confused with what they do like that. Right? So when they cannot manage to work from that, they quite kind of give up there, right? So yeah, line it up. Okay? But I group them up there. Okay, why I group them up? Because later on, let's just say that I'm going to animate this one there. Right? See, you can animate that easily. Right, frame by frame that if I want to. That's why we have to group all the object, right, as possible, as many as we can. Right, see, all the object is being grouped there, right? Easy for you to move around. Let's just say I want to animate or want to create some post that is not animate, create some post that is okay. This part basically group this, for example, there, right? I can actually adjust the motions there. Oops, sorry there again. You want to rotate or you want to skew or change the alignment there, I think. Always change the point of what we call that the middle point of those transformations over here, and then you can change. Right? That's how it goes. So the hand itself. And actually move this one. Oops, sorry there, right? This one like this. And I can rotate. See? Like that. This one there, right? See? I can move this one. But imaginations and also the understanding on the motions will be the challenge for you. Will be the challenge for you. That's why while we actually using the tools to animate, always find yourself to sketch out your ideas here. Okay? To sketch out your ideas at the same time. So if I want to animate this one, for example, 2 frames of motions, copy, cut the right, stick to this, another frames, alright, and then right click, insert blank keyframes. Okay, click to onion skin, paste those characters. Right, onion skin basically is just like it's a transparent kind of light box there, I think, for us to draw the characters right here. I think motions. You get the first results there on the motions. When you've done all the process of working, okay, guys, I'll give you guys a bit kind of introductions also today, how to animate a bit on your motion on the character. Then you can explore from there, frame by frame, that is, not using any motion frame. Okay. So we're going to work a lot with the post-to-post animations. So if I want to give you guys an example what I do for my run cycles kind of animations, most of animations works there. Okay, this is the one. Okay, these animated kind of motions, I'm using only 4 different kind of motions there. Right? 4 different kind of motions only, then we loop them up. So we have also worked smart on that. At the same time, we understand the discipline and also the rules of the motions that we're going to learn from time to time, that they follow all those principles. Okay. The other thing is, okay, this is one of the animations. Okay, this is what we call the test motion and also the animatics kind of motions using post-to-post animation. Okay, so this is something that we also are going to apply in terms to plan our motions back again from 5 frames of rules. Okay, so normally when you want to do animation, we always think of how many drawings that we want to do there. Okay, there's a lot of drawing in 25 frames. If you learn 5 frames of rules, basically it's not my kind of theories there. I also learn also from the animators, okay? From the books, from the professionals, and I also apply on my work. You will find a lot of enjoyment to abuse your characters. I think abuse it because when you design the characters, don't forget to abuse them. Use them as maximize that you can. Don't just feel shy, feel afraid to animate your characters there. You have to use your wild imaginations by applying the 12 principles to abuse, right, to push, to bully your characters, right, as as good as you want, right? So those are the things. See, this is one of the things. This is one of the final kind of motions, okay, for my characters, right? So I creating all this motion basically based on those 5 rules of motion first before I'm going to add another in between, right, of the motions, like, of the pose itself, right, to make it more smoother, right? Okay. So the rest of it basically is your imaginations. So this is one. This is some of the test animations. Hey, using pose to pose, when I actually have designed one character there, I always want to test what we call that my characters. Okay, this is some of the pose of the characters there, right? When I actually have understand and also satisfied with those design, I'm going to test and also design a few kind of pose. What else? This is also one of it that I actually have done. It's a very simple kind of motions there, right? To design the motion. I think only how many frames there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 frames only there, right? But looks smoother there, right? Jump sequence there. What else there? Oh, this is some of the characters that I did also. See those rough looks. Slow motions. This is some of the poses, right, based on the scene, right, before we get to animate them. This is some of the motions that I create, right? Okay, for this kind of character. Okay? So I try to exaggerate a bit more from there. Right? Okay? So animation is all about having fun, I think, with your design there. Okay? This is some of the characters posts. I design character motions also based on this design here. I'm using this kind of design for me right now is because I can add the additional kind of details with this design. You can see, right, there's a few kind of details there, even though it's quite simple, but they show a lot of details there, okay? Right, and also the parts of those body part like hands and so arms and legs there, okay? I try to simplify it a little bit because easy for me to move around this design later on. So I have also, this is some of the process of my design there, okay? When I design those characters, I test a few kind of there, pose, right, before I'm going to decide to use them for my works. This is walking around there, okay? This one is in motion frame. Okay? This one is using motion frame there. So the walk cycle itself basically is only 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't have to draw the whole thing there, okay? But the motion itself can be a part of those, what we call that. You can draw, right? How many frames here? It's around 3 seconds of motions, right? But I can extend them if I want to, see? I can extend them. That's why using Adobe Animate or Flash, generally, basically, they will make our works more easy there, I think. So don't complicate yourself there, right? There's a lot of people make a lot of what we call that. They don't actually practice from what they have learned already. They just decide want to explore new things, and suddenly they mix around with some of the different kind of tools, and they don't know where basically they want to go. Because when they look at what I actually have done, it look more easy, but when you apply, they're really hard because they don't actually practice the techniques there. My kind of advice, like I said just now, okay, I learn a few tools, few tricks from my friends, and then what I do, I explore more from there. I practice and practice the same kind of routine until I memorize them, and I explore those design styles from there. Okay, that's how it goes. Any questions so far, guys?
So far, so good.
Yeah. You want to continue until 4 o'clock? Yeah, right, okay. All right, okay. Okay, guys, okay. All right, thank you very much, okay. So hopefully these sessions, okay, will, what we call that, will enhance a bit more, right, on your work. So what we need to do is exercise 1. All right, these 2 things that we need to do, right? 2 things there, right? Right, if you take a look at the module itself, I think I didn't go through the module for you guys, but I already actually have share with you guys the module that I think. Don't worry, the module basically is our guideline. I think whatever that we're going to do, we're going to follow them. At the same time, I'm going to improvise, right? Depending, right, because of what we need. Okay, because in 14 weeks or 10 weeks, for example, that there's a lot of things that we need to cover in terms of learning the process of animations. But if you actually use the 12 principles as a part of your standard to understand about those animations, it's more than enough, right? So basically for today, for this week, I want you guys to design. Okay, first of all, there's the 2 things. One is summarize on the 12 principal animations there. Summarize that, right, in one A4 size only there. You guys can do some cheating kind of work there. Get the information from the Google and paste them back. But I do encourage you guys to read a bit. Okay? Don't just paste something there. Sometimes suddenly you paste some of the politic kind of things, it's not related to our works there, I think. There will be more trouble. All right. So first of all, do some of the summarize what basically you understand in written on the 12 principles of animation. A very simple kind of summarize there, right? Second thing is, right, you can actually also design those characters and on those summarization papers there, right? Okay, save into PDF format, right? The second one are going to be design 5 characters using the basic tool that I show you guys, the tools that I show you guys today, right? To create your characters inside Adobe Animate, Adobe Flash, and then you don't save then you submit your JPEG files. You export your image, right here, right? And I will create one folder there for you, right? I will create one folder like this one there, bi-weekly, right? This is week 1, all right? We have, right, 12 principles, right, of animations, right? Summary. Okay. In A4, right? Papers, all right? Using words, using, right, Microsoft, right? Software there, right? Okay, writing there again, and send it to PDF format. The second one are going to be design 5 characters based on basic shapes. They combine them together, okay, by using Animate or Flash tools. Okay, so submit them before next week. We got until Merdeka Day to complete those works. Every single kind of exercise we have to submit at least before our sessions on the new session on the next following week. Okay. Just to give you guys some of the what we call that samples here. I will share with you guys some of the works. Okay. And of course, the video link basically I'm going to upload later on to give you guys a bit more kind of understanding on the suddenly my line becomes slow. I don't know why. But the connection is good there, right? So we need to do the exercise 1. Yes. Yes, Tanya. Or you want to do exercise 2 and 3. Wait, you did before next, right? Next Friday, right? Why you have to wait until Friday, right, to complete? If you can complete in 1 day, it's more better than right? Because what I did basically, right, okay, with my kind of way of working, when I start to know how to work with that kind of tools, I will find if I actually have to do something else after this, right? Okay? I don't wait until tomorrow maybe to work on that. Okay? I'm not going to wait there because why? Because I'm afraid some of the ideas, information that I have in mind will lose that after, right? But of course, we have the video recording sessions there, right? So those are things not that quite impossible for you not to remember that, right? Okay? But the problem is sometimes we will have this kind of problems there, okay? Because we cannot actually memorize all this kind of information that you do. So you have to practice and practice more from that. Design is all about practice. To be good at what you do, you have to practice a lot. Okay? Then that's how actually you know the problems, and then you actually can improvise those problems later on. You can actually what we call it, overcome all these kind of situations later on. So I want to share also maybe some of the samples here. It is some of the sketches that I did in Photoshop. Okay, I'm not actually meant you guys to follow them, but I sketched it out, right? And you can see how actually I designing some of the basics form characters, but I'm creating a more appealing kind of look and feel. Okay. Let's check back. Those design. This is some of it. Okay, I already draw a very simple kind of shapes there, but they will look more presentable. This is in Photoshop actually. It's sketched out the ideas there. Remember, right? When you say you don't have any ideas, don't rely that you can get all those ideas by exploring the tools at the same time when to create your characters there. Just sketch it out in your sketchbooks. All right. Any kind of idea that you have, even though you don't have those laptop with you, right? Like Faris, okay, if you say you don't have those tablets there, I won't believe that you don't have any piece of paper there. You sketch it out first, right? Try to generate some those ideas in your brain into your hand there, and through your uh, papers or whatever that what you call that uh, device that you have there, just to show your ideas there. Because that's how you can become more creative from that, right? So that's how it actually goes. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Okay, if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate or feel shy to ask me questions on WhatsApp direct groups. So thank you for having me today. And on our session, next session, hopefully we can do also the same session like this. All right. And good luck with your works and take care of yourself. All right. Have a nice day.